Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Magic Arena Run. Today we are, well, it's basic FNM standard, so just bring your best standard deck. Well, I wouldn't call this the best standard deck I'm bringing, but it's probably I kind of want to represent Lorehold. It's pretty much the colors I normally associate with myself. Actually, it's more, so I associate with red and white, so I want to represent the College of Lorehold, aka Boros if you're in Ravnica, or what are the other ways to call this color pair? I'll just leave it at that. But for the most part, it's also the best way for me to try out some of the interesting some of the interesting cards here. So we're gonna do a quick look here, see what we got. Otherwise, I was gonna do a bunch of other decks, but most of them did not really feature any cards in Strixhaven, so that might be a bit of foreshadowing here. But so we have a very super basic Winota build. So 4 copies of Winota, 2 copies of Haktos as one of the traditional payoffs. And we're actually doing a few Showdown of the Skulls because it's actually pretty good. It gets us extra card draw, and if we don't draw Winota, at least we're not stuck with a bunch of smaller creatures. That said, let's see, what are the cards that... Okay, so the usual payoffs are like Selfless Savior, Bone Crusher Giant. We got Clarion Spirit, that's new tech from Kaldheim. Basically, you can get extra spirits that way. Good stuff. Running. But okay, let's go over the new stuff that we're running. First of all, everyone knows Blade Historian. If you've done a Winota deck, you're pretty much getting this one. Always good stuff. That said, we're also running 2 copies of Venerable Warsinger. This one's pretty much as a way to get some of our cards back. Like, we're only running 4 Selfless Saviors, but if we can keep recurring it, it's not bad. Same with recurring Clarion Spirits. We're also running 4 copies of Strict Proctor because this messes up quite a few interactions. It sadly does not mess up Sagas, which is actually fine since we're also running Sagas as well. And we don't have any ETB effects, so it doesn't hurt us that much. It hurts the rogue deck quite a lot because a lot of it's ETB. Let's see, what else does it mess up? It messes up Kroxa ETB triggers, but it also messes us up in that we're stuck with the 6/6 on the battlefield. We'll see if that matters or not. But that said, we have we're also trying out 2 copies of Lorehold Apprentice because we are gonna get a few amount of spirits. So if we can't swing with them, casting a spell and being able to ping sideways might be a plan. Also, we're running 4 copies of Fire Prophecy as a way to shuffle through the deck. If any, the Lorehold Apprentice is probably going to be the first cut if ever. The synergy might not pan out. We are running Fight as 1 and Fire Prophecy as insurance for the most part. By itself, the lands are not typical. We're only running 1 copy of Fury Calm Snarl because the pathway is just better as of the moment. We're also running Kabira Takedown and Kazul's Fury just as some emergency action, though I can see this easily being replaced with the mythic versions of the lands. But we'll go with this one for now. So let's see. I don't expect to do very well with this one, but it's really more of an experiment of sorts. I want to see how it pans out. So here we go. We're getting our first game of the day. And this one is... Okay, if it's not for the Bone Crusher Giants, I would call this Stone Unkeepable. But it's probably okay because this is a Lurrus deck, so let's see if we can fish something. In all honesty, I probably should mulligan this. Yeah, our opponent's going first. I probably should have mulligan, though. Let's see. We will run the Needle Verge pathway first in case we only have 1 Fury Calm Snarl, but if we do draw into it, it'll be miserable if we play our only planes on that one. And we really need the red mana at this point, so we will play that first. That said, this could also be mono white, so it's probably not. So that would also be an issue, especially since we're okay. Did our opponent just have a discount? Nope, opponent's there. They don't have a turn 1 play, so that's the good news. And if they crack early, which most impatient players do, we will get to see what we're up against. But if you're running Fabled Passage, this is most likely blue rogues. Okay, there's the blue half. I am actually going to just play this one because that confuses the heck out of our opponent. They might suspect we're mono white or some sort of go wide aggro. So we probably would see a ruin crab about this point. So that's the advantage of having. Oh no, okay. We did draw our fire prophecy, so we can hold back. And with the mana we have, I most likely bin the Blade Historian because Haktos, it will get through. As long as it doesn't hit X equals the random number is not 2, we should get through almost everything our opponent has. I'm just waiting for our opponent to see if they flash something. I'm pretty sure they do. We will have a Bone Crusher or Fire Prophecy ready for that. Thieves Guild Enforcer. So we do this now while the graveyard is empty, so it doesn't get hit by a Drown in the Loch. These are okay as mill outs, I guess. We do want to hit the 4th mana though, so the Fire Prophecy is going to be important. Also, our opponent playing lands now means they do not have a Ruin Crab. Okay, we hit the Selfless Savior. Hey, if our opponent wants to run removal against this little pupper, one, you're a monster, but that is a legitimate play. Okay, opponent did not. Ruin Crab. Plays a land. We lose Winota hack. Okay, so we really want to hold on to this last hack toss. I want to see if I can naturally hit the 4th land. I probably won't cast either of these, but what I would do is I'd probably swing and just use Bone Crusher Giant. Then if our... Okay, we did not. So we're going to swing here first. Opponent probably blocks... We end the turn. Let's see if they pass. No, they obviously cast something. If they pass, it's, well, kind of fine, though we are missing land drops. Okay, they actually passed. Ooh. Okay, we hit our 4th. Okay, let's see if we can hit an actual good 4th land. Not quite. So, well, technically we can cast Blade Historian. Strict Proctor is going to be interesting. So we're going to actually play out the Bone Crusher first. So we're going to see how... So our opponent probably wants to drop Lurrus. Okay, they didn't go for Ruin Crab because that would have meant dropping Lurrus first, getting Ruin Crab, then taking the land. They're really They might have call. Oh no, they didn't have Call of the Death Dweller. So this one is a bit of an Okay, plays the Ruin Crab, but they already played the land. Take note of that. So first things first, we take out the Lurrus because this represents miscast. We can get past that one. And we will play Strict Proctor. Opponent's gonna be forced to kill this one, but Drown in the Loch's a destroy effect. It's not a -X effect. Blood Chief's Thirst. Let's see if he casts Drown in the Loch in response. No, lets it go. It does give us 7 cards in the yard, so they can cast Into the Story. So I kind of actually want to... Okay, I'm gonna play the Blade Historian first because that will definitely eat the Drown in the Lock. Or an Essence Scatter. Didn't say please. Okay, that's fine. That just mills 3 cards. Okay, so how many? So we lost 2 out of our 3 Blade Historians. Our third one's on the bottom, so we're not winning that way. It's flying. So our opponent's goal is really to just mill us out at this point. Pretty much relying on the fight this one to keep our creatures alive. Not the best plan. But if it eats 2 cards for the... Oh, now here's the thing. If I actually want them to spend mana. No, they don't. Okay, so they're really holding it up and into the story at this point, I guess. Oh, yeah, they're figuring out the power of the Strict Proctor. So I'm actually going to swing first because that's the best way to elicit a response from our opponent. So I will cast the Bone Crusher Giant. Let's see if this eats a counter spell. Basically, we want to get as many counter spells out of our opponent's hand. There's a Drown. That's fine. Let's play the Lorehold Apprentice. So opponent probably wondering what's up here. Into the story, drawing extra cards. So not too bad, considering we did. Not too bad considering we did not draw Winota. We did not draw. We did not draw Showdown the Skulls. Venerable War Singer. I'm tempted to just swing with everyone. Yeah, let's just end it right now. Swing it everyone. So Lorehold Apprentice, not so much use, but it is more of an insurance policy. So opponent looks like they're conceding, or do they have a removal spell? Let's see. Drown in the Lock. Heartless Act. And insult to injury, we get to kill the crab also. And there we go. Strict Proctor, schooling the rogues. So that's a decent enough win. Yeah, it's actually about the time that we're gonna get a lot of new ICRs at this point from Strixhaven. So that said, I did say the Lorehold Apprentice is one of the. It's kind of sketchy, but in a board state where like it's all clogged up and our opponent hasn't ratted it yet, we could like get. Depends on the number of Clarion Spirits we have and all that. So we're definitely gonna keep this. I'm definitely gonna run Fabled Passage first, because there's really no good reason. There's no good reason to play need to play Selfless Savior immediately. In fact, what I want to do is just play this together and turn 3. So we are getting white though. So if our opponent goes for the Thieves Guild Enforcer, we will fire Prophecy in response. I think I want to bin actually the Blade Historian. Okay, there you go. Yeah, generally you want to bin the 4 drops if ever. So okay. Let's. Now our opponent could out-tempo us with, oh, not with that one though. And so far, not really, no one's really casting miscast, so sniping all that's just fine. Our opponent could snipe the Selfless Savior, so it's fine, I guess. Ruin Crab, okay, no. Could still snipe Selfless Savior. I do want to set this on red. We are going to play the Strict Proctor first. Let's see if it forces our opponent to counter. It will eat the count. No, it didn't eat the counter spell, so we hold up the fight as 1. And our Soaring Thought Thief. Now that one can mill. Now our opponent's probably going to hold up mana, so I'm more likely to just play the Bone Crusher Giant. So let's see if our opponent pays 2. Oh, they paid the 2, okay. So that limits our opponent's options. They could just have a... Okay, we did lose another Fire Prophecy, which is not so great. Opponent probably wants to kill this one. Okay, that's another Winota gone. We're going to be relying on the Showdown and Scouts quite a bit. Another Selfless Savior. I want to play Showdown, but it's probably going to eat the counters. Yeah, let's play Bone Crusher, because at least if this eats a counter spell, we still have something to do. Opponent can still continue. Okay, they haven't tried to. Well, technically, they could play another Thieves Guild Enforcer, but they would have to pay 2, which they wouldn't have. Okay, milling all the good stuff. We kind of need at least 1 more land so that... Oh, that doesn't work, actually. That was a whiff. Oops. Huh? Oh yeah, that's right. It's not because it's still damage. Okay. Now opponent can still have a counter spell. Well, this one can block this. Well, not forever. Okay, let's make it forever. Opponent really wants to get rid of that Strict Proctor. The dead weight is going to be a big issue. So we're going to actually let it through. Now, technically, I could block, then sack a Selfless Savior, but that feels kind of poor. We're going to pass. Besides, you're only taking 2 damage, so I'm actually fine with it. Really waiting for our opponent to spend mana at this point. Spending mana that way is fine. Gonna hasten the clock a little bit, or eat a counter spell. Eating a counter spell is actually fine at this point because it opens the way for the Showdown. Well, there's also, it opens the way to a Fire Prophecy also, but we'll play Showdown first. Ooh, there's another Showdown. That's interesting. And now we would actually have options here. Like, I can... And note our opponent has to deal more, has to deal with the life Strict Proctor, even if it's an opponent. Oh, this time they skipped it, so... Law Mages, Domination, that's fine, because it's already tapped. Blood Chief's Thirst. So, Clarion Spirit. Showdown of the Scalds. So I probably want to just put another counter on the Strict Proctor and get ourselves even more gas. Opponent's now living off the top of their deck. They can... So this could be a counter spell. More importantly, we do get the Showdown triggers, and our opponent concedes because we're going to grow a huge Strict Proctor. Between the Bone Crusher and Winota, we would have punched through at that point. So at least we've proven the concept that this beats rogues. But let's see if we can... But am I convinced that this will do well against other decks? Maybe not so much. We're going to keep trying this one because we're only like 20 minutes in. Let's get at least some 2 or 3 more games here. Because if everyone's literally playing rogues and FNM, I would take this one. Just though you have to be careful with the hands you keep. You really want to have reaction early. Like this one is kind of fine. Again, remember you never want to play Selfless Savior turn 1. Okay, this is mono white. Could be White X Adventures. Okay, it's mono white, so we got the Luminarch Aspirant. So that's fine. So in this situation, we snipe the Aspirant, so it stops growing stuff. Now, if they have another Aspirant, it's a bit sad because that puts this out of range. That also puts things out of range, but... Also, what annoys us a bit is that we are kind of missing mana here. I'm actually going to play the Bone Crusher Giant. I'm going to ignore the... Our opponent's gonna swing with this one up top. And they're gonna place another creature of some sort. So we're knocking on wood for another... Oh, well, not the right mana. Okay, we hit the Lorehold Apprentice. We don't actually want to hit that. We want to hit land. So I actually want to play the Selfless Savior just as an extra backup. That said, things are going to be close here. Opponent's actually just pumping the Crawling Barrens. That said, they're just going to swing with the Crawling Barrens instead. Okay. So we are forced to block here. And we might as well sack because this doesn't have trample. Now, technically, we made the mistake. We could have actually sniped that land. So, we're probably not going to win this. Maybe not going to win is quite a strong term, but we can delay the inevitable a little bit. So, we're going to give up the Clarion Spirit and 1 token. Yeah, we kind of goofed up on that one. We could have sniped the land. I'll say the Life's Bounty. He can lure us of the Dream Den. If he buys it back, he will not be able to cast Protection. He's holding back. Interesting. Unfortunately, this is probably where we... Well, I wouldn't say... I would say don't win it. It might be a bit on the harsh end. Because I could do Winota as a... Like, what do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4 triggers. It probably will not survive this. Because what we can do is Fire Prophecy, fight us one on our opponent's turn. Opponent missed tap one of our creatures down during this turn. Luminarch Aspirant. Heliod Sun covered, so the life gain would be an issue. So I'm gonna cast this now because it forces our opponent to name pro red when what we need is actually pro white. So that's fine. We actually don't want the spell to fire off. And I guess now we actually have to go for it. So swing with this one, it just gets eaten by that. We can aim for... So what I'm probably going to do is... Yeah, chuck the flyers. Hacktoss is good. What's that? X4, so... Nothing to block that. And a blade. Oh! Doesn't matter. He can't block it. That's the problem when your creatures are too cheap. He can block the Blade Historian, sure. Whatever. Hacktoss for the win. Okay, so we survived mono white. I'm pleasantly pleased, but it does show. Yeah, if you can hold off for as long as possible, it's fine. If I'd lost earlier, would I have regretted it? Probably, but mono white is not exactly an interactive color. Their interaction is Skyclave Apparition and maybe a Glass Casket. Not really. It's really just Skyclave Apparition, and everything else is just meant to protect their own stuff. So, but I will admit we did goof up on not taking out their land. I could have just let the damage through, then snipe it. I did not need to. I would have shorted them out one land. May or may not be relevant, but at least it was one less worry. I wouldn't have to worry about them activating all the time. And... Okay, I guess this is fine, but... Because we do need to hit more lands. I will admit we are kind of land light here. We are essentially running a total of 22 lands. I guess some cards, that's including the DFC, so not that optimal. I guess there are some cards we could cut, like... Okay, the Lorehold Apprentice, you could easily cut it for an additional 2 lands or land and something else. I would probably recommend other DFCs for that matter. Well, we did hit a land, so that's the good news. I'll most likely just run out Strict Proctor turn 2. Oh wait, it's mono white. I'll say... I'll run Clarion Spirit turns. Because our opponent's best play is Luminarch Aspirant, grow this one, force a trade. So not optimal, but it's doable. No, Speaker of the Heavens, so this is the super life gain version. Now, this would affect things like, say, Radiant Fountains, though if our opponent's playing snow-covered lands, it will affect their Maul of the Skyclaves. So that's something to consider. I'm also going to offer the trade. Yeah. Don't really feel like protecting it because our opponent's removal is pretty much going to be... Our opponent's removal is pretty much going to be Skyclave Apparition anyway, although... Oh, it also messes their Skyclave Apparition. That's an ETB trigger. Like, they can play Maul the Skyclaves, but they will not be able to equip it. Okay, opponent's thinking really hard on this one. Okay, they... Righteous Valkyrie. Oh, this also is an ETB trigger that gets affected, so... Whenever an opponent, so... We will... It also affects our temples, sadly, but you know what, that's fine. Decline, because we got the mana we need. So it will definitely slow down their life gain. So in fact, if I could just slam the Blade Historian, though it's not getting past the 2/4 Valkyrie. I'm most likely going to just Winota and swing. Yeah, at least get... Yeah, opponent's really thinking this through. At the very least, it's gonna delay their life gain quite a bit. Okay. So they can pay 2 to gain 1 life, which I would really appreciate. Opponent could make this a 3/5, so it would mean I probably attack with this, but not this. This one probably less so. No, opponent did not pay. And opponent only... Like, I can do Fire Prophecy, bin the Blade Historian, hope to hit something. But our opponent's holding up Alseid, so you know what? I'm just gonna go Winota. Yeah, we're gonna swing with everything just to give us the best chance at hitting a Blade Historian. Or a Hack Toss. Our opponent can multi-block this one, which is, well, semi-fine but not too great. We can... So we hit our Hack Toss, that's the good news. We whiff 1. We hit a Winota, so we're definitely gonna put Winota in, put her in. Hit Blade Historian. So... yeah, we whiffed 1, but we got enough hits and got our opponent to concede. Strict Proctor, I am appreciating the Strict Proctor here. So, 4 games, 4 wins. I'm guessing no one... I'm surprised no one's playing the Ultimatum. Well, okay, I jinxed myself. Our next match is probably going to be an Ultimatum deck. We'll probably do about 1 or 2 more matches, but this is going to be a really fast episode. Hey, it's Winota Spirits. You either win fast or you lose fast. And I don't mind it that much. Yeah, that said... Kabira take down Kazul's Fury. Yeah, we could just make it more mythics. The Lorehold Apprentices. Yeah, didn't really pan out here. We never got the long game that we were looking for. We hit 3 mana, though it's all ETB tapped. Opponent's playing Lurus of the Dream Den again, but this is not looking... I'm tempted to mulligan this one because I do need to have some action. Yeah, let's mulligan this one. So we got Bone Crusher, we got the Kabira takedown. We will bin the Blade Historian. So turn 1 takedown as a land. I guess there's an argument that this might as well just be Emeria's Call. Hawk Thief, so that should... So not so great, we're now looking for a Fire Prophecy. We are hitting Fight this once, but... The least we can do is stomp this out of the way. I probably will play this, but yeah, this one's not exactly great. Fight this one is conditional. There's the Fire Prophecy we wanted. I say we force our opponent to counter. Yeah, let's force our opponent to use up their counter spell. At this mana, it's gonna be drawn. Oh no, no drawn in the lock. So let's force them to use removal, though they didn't show any. Ironically enough, this would make Fight this one pretty good. I probably should play. Okay, so 7. So I want to swing first. Okay, no. Did not take the bait. So, yeah, Strict Proctor being cheap is an issue. Yeah, but generally you want 2 red, 2 white because of Hacktoss. But but normally you will want more white. That said, if we can force our opponent to spend mana now, it should open the way for Showdown, which I would really love to resolve. If our opponent goes out of the way to just get Lurrus, it's fine. It's not so great. Opponent considering which way to clear. Really wants to get creatures down, but... Opponent's really thinking really hard on this one. Now, there is another option. I've seen some rogue builds have the new rat effect where you just name rogues and all your creatures are safe. We can protect one of them with Fight this one. Yeah, mill. Dual Mage's Domination, targeting this one. I guess that's not so great, but it's still kind of, but it's still better than nothing. Pass. I'm actually gonna hold these back. My reasoning is if I play Selfless Savior, opponent plays a kill spell, I use it up immediately. I need the protection here, not during the end of our turn. I'm okay with taking damage here. Opponent plays into the story is so fine. Plays a land. Losing a lot of good stuff. Now I actually want to block this one, so if I don't have to cast Fight as one, I don't have to. It's probably safer that way. Got ourselves another Showdown though. I don't Oh, opponent wants to remove this while this is on the stack. Let's see how are they thinking of doing. Nope, lets it resolve. I guess we play the Fabled Passage. Get ourselves another Plains. Play the Selfless Savior. We start buffing up Strict Proctor. We fire Prophecy, the Soaring Taut Thief. Buff the Strict Proctor. They might... No, lets it go. We put a card into your library. Put the Temple. Strict Proctor. Who does not love a Strict Proctor? Oh wow, and our opponent's ETB triggers now cost 4. Drawn in the lock. Just sack to protect this. Because I want to keep the Fight this one's a surprise. Our opponent has not seen any of them yet. So it's still a valid surprise. So next turn well, guess what? Showdown of the Skulls again. Opponent's really digging through their library. Looking for a way to get past this stuff. They might open up with a counterspell, but counterspell kind of fine. Because up in the air no blocks. Merfolk Wind Robber. Okay, so opponent gets the delay stuff. That's kind of fine. We can start spreading the love. I actually want to cast Showdown first because I'm pretty sure that just gets drowned in the lock. So we can basically our opponent drew so many cards. We want to get them out. If our opponent tries to kill something now, you have a surprise for them. And our opponent just revealed that they have a drown in the lock because they're letting the timer run. Well, technically they could sack this. But yeah, we're gonna play it safe. Spread the love a little bit. Our opponent has to drown this one. They can't let this resolve. Yeah, that's fine. So let's see, 4. So opponent blocks with... Now I could say pump and put a counter on this just to rub it in, but no, let's save it. I'm pretty sure our opponent has a way to nuke this. So we are taking 5. Opponent probably wants to play Lurrus at this point. Though they have such a full grip. Okay, here comes the Ruin Crab. Play a land. Do you want to pay 4 mana? I actually hope you do. No, he lets it get countered. So we at least get to stop the mill. Now, sad to say, this Winota is probably not gonna land if our opponent holds up this much mana, but we get to... We get to start swinging through all the time. I will probably hold back one Strict Proctor at this point. Also, our opponent demonstrated having Lull Mage's dominance. I don't know how many copies this is usually a 2 of, so let's assume we lose one more creature. I'm really hoping our opponent tries to go for the long game by getting Lurrus. Nope. Gonna swing with just a Strict Proctor. Now, technically, I can actually pay. Clarion Spirit's fine. Basically, I'm casting all of these now to get them all out of the way. Because if he has to expend multiple drowns, that's fine. Though, I think what our opponent is doing is that they... Well, this is literally all my options anyway. I kind of foresaw this was going to happen. Opponent plays the Thieves Guild Enforcer. Doesn't mill. Well, technically can mill. But we got 2 drowns out. I think that's... Yeah, that's 2 drowns out. Our opponent probably has another one. So I'm probably going to just sacrifice one Bone Crusher. One of these to the... Well, our opponent could have a kill spell. Yeah, now we say good game. I was right, our opponent probably had another one, and that makes sense. So, kind of close, but we didn't really have many other options. I could have forced the... Technically, I could have played the Winota to force one of the counter spells out. That probably would have been a better bet because we were winning anyway on the air, so to speak. So not perfect, but at least we know that there are some angles we have to consider. But you know what? That's pretty much fine for this episode. That's it for this time of Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications and whatnot. Again, if we are going to talk about changing this up, most likely the easy cuts are the Lorehold Apprentice. We never got to test her out. Kazul's Fury, this one's kind of like an emergency, like I want to fling Hack Toss, but this probably is also an easy cut. The takedowns, probably more relevant, but yeah, because you can hit a Planeswalker this way, so not too shabby. So we have a few easy cuts here. We could just load up on the Bone Crusher Giant, especially if people are running that many... Are running that many rogue decks. Maybe additional X3 burn spells, like we can go white, we can go Frostbite. It would be reasonable. That's one way around it. We can probably, but again, just remember, no need to play this turn 1. You want this to be there to protect something. So there we go. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you guys again next time. Take care. God bless. Stay safe wherever you are. Have a great weekend, everyone.